everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with another BTS reaction. I was told that there is a new introduction video about BTS which is rather informative, and it was requested by a few of my viewers. And from what I understood, the video explains how actually the group was created, also how each of the members joined the group, and it also shows the development of BTS as a whole. I got really intrigued and I couldn't wait to see it. Let's check it out. Okay, let's get ready for the most beautiful life goes on, a story of BTS. All of the members of BTS. The music sounds so revolutionary. I get this vibe. I love it. Is it part from a BTS song, the instrumental? Here we go! BTS conquering the world.
Today, everyone knows the name of BTS.
Yeah!
They've been invited onto late night talk shows, they've shattered records, they've sold out stadiums, they've made it onto the big screen. These days, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't know who these guys were, or at least haven't heard one of their songs. And if they don't, either they've been living under a rock, or they're 100 years old. The success of the Bangtan Boys is worldwide, but it wasn't always like this. And it all started with one man, YG. YG wanted to make...
Wait, why YG? What has YG to do with it? That's a bit interesting here. Let's see.
Make himself a rap group. In the late 90s, he experimented with this idea with different trainees, eventually choosing 7 members. And while 3 of them eventually left, the remaining 4, Teddy, Danny, Jinhwan, and Baekhyun, debuted in 1998 as One Time. Their first album, titled One for Your Mind, was one of the year's best-selling albums and won several awards, including the Global Disc and SBS Music Awards for Best New Artist and KMTV's Award for Best Hip Hop Artist. The group enjoyed moderate success and released 4 more albums before going on indefinite hiatus in 2006 due to their mandatory military service. The year was 2010, and the 5-year-old company, Big Hit Entertainment, had previously signed 2 artists, 88 and 2AM. They had their share of successes, but they were very traditional K-pop groups. Big Hit wanted a fresh, new sound, and upon listening to One Time, CEO Hitman Bang Si-hyuk had decided that that was the sound that he was looking for. And on top of that, the youth needed someone to relate to, and more...
Okay, so the CEO of Big Hit Entertainment got the idea for creating a hip-hop group initially with 7 members, and this came from the group which YG created in the 90s. Is that how we relate the 2 stories, or am I getting it wrong? Let me know what you think on this point. That's interesting, really.
More importantly, look up to. He had decided he would create a hip-hop group.
Yeah, that was the initial concept behind BTS.
At 15 years old, Kim Namjoon auditioned for a certain Big Deal Records, which he completely botched, forgetting the lyrics to the song he was performing. Afterwards, fellow rapper Sleepy recommended that he try auditioning at another label, Big Hit, and even put in a good word for him to one of the producers there. At age 16, Kim auditioned in front of Bang Si-hyuk himself, and instantly impressed him. He was offered a deal with Big Hit on the spot, which Kim accepted and became a trainee, officially choosing a name for himself, Rap Monster, destined to become the leader of the newly created group.
The Rap Monster.
Now that a fearless leader was chosen, they needed more members.
They needed 6 more. Okay.
Min Young-gi was a 17-year-old living in Daegu, an avid basketball player and rapper. He had been interested in music, especially rap, from a very early age, and despite his parents' disapproval, started performing as a rapper while still in high school. He quickly gained attention as a rapper and producer in the underground hip-hop scene. One day he saw a flyer for a rap competition called Hit It and decided to participate. And although he only placed second, the company hosting the competition, you guessed it, Big Hit, decided to sign him on
What a
as
coincidence.
a producer. Hitman Bang spoke with him afterwards, convincing him to join a newly created hip-hop group. He told him to just
Okay, I will pause here, guys, because I want to emphasize on the fact that Suga's parents didn't approve his musical career, or that he was even trying to rap, but he didn't give up. And I really feel like this is showing us his real motivation to go after his passion, after his dream. And he was also producing at the very early age of 17, as they said. That is rather impressive.
focus on rapping and assured him that he wouldn't need to dance.
No dancing.
He was lying.
No dancing.
And just
is
like
needed
that, the new group had
for
a second
BTS.
member, known as Suga.
That was
the combination
funny.
of the first two syllables
Welcome,
of shooting
Suga, on
guard,
board.
his favorite position in basketball. But they wouldn't stop there. Rappers were nice, but Big Hit actually needed a dancer.
Of course.
Jung Ho-seok always loved dancing. He was in the starting lineup of the dance crew Neuron in his hometown, Gwangju. He was
Okay.
good at it too, winning several local championships and even winning a championship at the national level in 2008. When he decided to audition for JYP Entertainment though, after a few rounds of
dancer.
auditions, he was cut. Fortunately, he didn't give up and went to his second option, a
Fortunately,
smaller,
yeah.
lesser-known company, Big Hit Entertainment.
He
His
continued
dance
to
skills
fight
and strong understanding of
and
rhythm made
dance.
him an instant favorite, and he was signed on as J-Hope.
J-Hope!
Not only that, but they saw
Hello.
potential in him to become a rapper, which at this point he had little experience with. However, J-Hope quickly felt that he wasn't a good fit and decided to leave Big Hit until RM convinced both J-Hope and Big Hit that the group wouldn't be complete without him.
Wait, that's intriguing. Why J-Hope thought that he was not a good fit for Big Hit Entertainment, for the group? I'm glad that RM convinced him to stay and didn't let him go, because BTS wouldn't be the same without him. That's for certain.
He was right.
시라고 했어.
아니 근데 형 항상
중알고야 아니면 정우석 와야 된다고. 정우석 안 오면 진짜 안 된다.
No,
멤버
you don't make it without
보고 거야.
him.
나 올해 했고 멤버 보고 왔다. 멤버 보고 왔어 진짜. 근데 나는 진짜 네가 그 예약.
With the addition of J-Hope, the rap line was complete. Now they
Yay.
needed some singers. Now, just like how RM, an amazing rapper with a ton of experience,
Let's
was
see who's
chosen
gonna
as the
come
first
next.
official member of the rap line, it would only make sense that a legendary singer and dancer would be the perfect first member of the vocal line. Right?
Jin,
But Kim Seok-jin didn't have any sort of experience like that.
no
Believe it or
experience
not,
at all.
one day when he was walking on the streets of his hometown, Anyang, he was approached by a representative of SM Entertainment with an offer
Wait, so he was firstly approached by SM Entertainment. I didn't know that.
to work for the company. In typical Jin fashion, he never followed up with them because he believed it to be a scam.
Oh, he
Apparently,
believed it
Jin
was
was
a
a
scam.
very good-looking guy
It's easy
because
to
years
think
later,
that.
this time as a college student in Seoul, he was once again approached on the street, this time by an
Okay.
executive at Big Hit Entertainment.
Here we go.
He didn't sing, he didn't dance. He was at school to become an actor, and he decided to audition to become an actor. Big Hit, however, had different plans for him, and convinced him to become a vocalist for their new group. To do so, he literally learned to dance and sing starting from zero, but thankfully, not without help from other vocalists.
I find Jin's story and the way he joined Big Hit Entertainment rather unique because he was noticed while walking on the street because of his looks. Yeah, he's rather attractive, but the fact that he was in an acting school and he didn't know how to sing, he didn't know how to dance, and still he was chosen to be part of a group and to be a singer, especially like without prior experience. I think this is what we call a chance, like once in a lifetime opportunity, and I believe that Jin has been really lucky for this, and that he turned down the first offer he got from SM Town and to join Big Hit later on. That's really destiny.
Jung Jungkook initially
Jungkook.
had dreams of becoming a badminton player when he was young, but after seeing G-Dragon perform Heartbreaker on
Badminton
television,
player?
it influenced him to want to become a singer instead. Because of this, at only age 14, he decided to audition for the South Korean talent show Superstar K. He didn't pass auditions, but this was just enough to catch the eye of not one company, not two companies, but 7 different companies.
7
This
different
included
companies?
JYP, FNC, Woollim, Starship Entertainment, TS, Cube, and of course, Big Hit Entertainment. So
Okay.
why did Jungkook, given the choice of all these bigger companies, decide to go with the relatively smaller company, Big Hit?
Yeah.
The
How
answer
did they win him
was simple.
over?
Because he thought, and I quote, RM was cool, so I wanted to sign with them. That brings the number of members.
Okay, that is so nice that actually RM was the main reason Jungkook joined Big Hit Entertainment, because he was a fan of his. And yeah, if you have offers from other bigger labels, I bet most people would go with them. So again, there's no coincidence. Fascinating.
To 5. The next member of BTS was just as surprised to find Big Hit as Big Hit was to find him, and it almost didn't happen.
How come? Who is next?
Kim Tae-young was always passionate about music,
Tae-young.
and it was always his dream to pursue it as a career. However, it was hard, as his family was poor, his parents being humble farmers. His father told him that if he was passionate about music, he should learn an instrument, and he did, spending 3 years
Good
practicing
advice
with the
to
saxophone.
learn
One
to
day,
play
one of
an
his friends
instrument.
decided to audition for Big Hit Entertainment when they were holding auditions in his hometown of Daegu. Tae-young, being a good friend, came with him to keep him company. But when one of the team members in charge of the audition saw Tae-young, he encouraged him to audition as well. With nothing to lose, he did. That day, he was the only one in Daegu to move on to the next round of
glad
auditions
he
and
did.
eventually became a trainee for Big Hit Entertainment. They decided to keep him as a surprise member and didn't want to reveal him as one
surprise
of the members
member?
until his debut. In the same vein, Big Hit had him choose something mysterious for his stage name. He decided to go with V for victory. Here seems
You're
like
my
a nice
man.
round number to stop,
V.
right? 6 members for a new hip-hop group. 3 rappers and 3 vocalists. It seems like a complete group, but still there was something missing. Someone was missing. Someone that could take this already great group of artists and push it even further to achieve perfection. A powerhouse. Someone so naturally talented that they could
Someone
stand out in a
naturally
room full of
talented.
already talented artists. This project that Big Hit had
Who's
embarked
that?
upon needed a capstone.
Ooh. Jimin.
Park Jimin was a naturally talented dancer. When he was in middle school, he attended a dance academy and continued to pursue dance at Busan High School of Arts, where he studied contemporary dance and was the top student in the whole modern dance department.
Top
Impressed by his
student.
raw talent, a teacher encouraged him to audition for Big Hit Entertainment, who were holding auditions
Well
in
done,
Busan.
teacher.
He was only 16 when he passed the audition and moved to Seoul to become a trainee. He was the final member of the group, and he also had the shortest training period.
Shortest
What's
training
interesting
period.
to note is that the group feels very much ragtag because in a sense, with the exception of Jimin, it was. RM and J-Hope only auditioned for Big Hit because they didn't pass their auditions with the first company they chose. And despite their amazing talent, Suga and Jungkook didn't win the competitions they were in, but they signed on to Big Hit after the fact because of their high quality performances. V never even planned on auditioning and just decided to do it on a whim. And they literally just found Jin on the streets, but perhaps it was fate. Because this was the group
This
that
is
they
what I
chose.
call fate
And
as
just
well.
like that, in 2012, the newly created 방탄소년단, the Bulletproof Boy Scouts, or
Bulletproof
simply
Boy
BTS,
Scouts.
was 7.
They are bulletproof, right?
저도 아침에
아,
리허설
this
때 이거 보고 많이 웃었습니다.
So
They had the
exciting.
group.
The whole
They
story.
still needed the music. In early 2013, they set out to create some social
Early
media presence
2013,
for themselves
yeah.
before officially debuting, posting song covers on both SoundCloud and YouTube, which you can still go watch today. In May,
I think this was a great move actually to produce songs on SoundCloud for free and to do covers before their debut. I really feel like this was a rather strategic step. This was well planned.
Big Hit launched a countdown clock on their website in preparation for BTS's debut album, complete with a
Yay!
trailer and a ton of promotional material, including photos for the first time of all the members in the official lineup.
Nice photos.
Finally,
Here they go.
big day came. June 12, 2013, BTS held a press conference and a debut showcase where they performed their 2 singles, No More Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2.
They look really different here, for sure,
The
from
same
what they
day,
are today.
the Too Cool for School album, as well as the music video for No More Dream, were released.
Finally.
The very next day, BTS performed the song again on their official debut stage on Mnet's M Countdown. This was the world's first taste of BTS. Commercially, the album didn't do extraordinarily well. The lead single, No More Dream, peaked at 124 in Korea, and the album sold only 24,000 copies during its first year. Bulletproof Part 2 didn't even chart.
Much,
the first year wasn't
24,000.
all that great for BTS, but despite everything, people saw them.
But they were noticed. That's important.
People saw the sparkle in their eyes and their limitless potential. And
Limitless
they were hot,
potential.
of course.
They
On July
do have
9th, ARMY was
limitless
established
potential.
as BTS's official fandom. They made their comeback only 2 months later in September when they released their single No, along with their EP, part 2 of what would be their school trilogy, Oh, Are You Late 2. In the music video for the
Are
single,
You
they made a
Late?
commentary on the harsh Korean education system, along with their previous themes of hopes and dreams. No peaked at 92 in Korea, but also quickly fell off the charts. The album debuted at number 4 on the Gaon Weekly chart and was the 55th best-selling album in South Korea that year. This was enough to
Okay.
secure them the
So they
coveted
climbed
New Artist
higher
of the
with the
Year
second
award at the
album.
Melon Music Awards, the Golden Disc Awards, and the Seoul Music Awards.
And
Part
they-
3 of the School Trilogy was
they won
released
their
in
first
February
awards.
of 2014, the EP
Nice.
School Love Affair. This time, the lead single was Boy in Love.
Boy in Love. Ooh, love the song.
And the other single being
I
Just
should
One
check
Day.
out these songs.
The album, as
Ooh.
well as both singles, enjoyed moderate success, with the album topping the Gaon album chart, as well as making its first international appearance at number 3 on the Billboard World
Number
Albums
3,
chart. The album
whoa,
also
not
marked
bad.
their first distinctive change
Not at
in
all.
theme, focusing more on school life and young love, as evidenced by their Boy in Love music video. They also held their first fan meetings with a crowd of 3,000 in Seoul. BTS was doing well. That is, until July. This is, unfortunately, a dark chapter in the lives of BTS
Why?
and ARMY. That's
Why a
right.
dark chapter?
American Hustle Life. I'm joking, of course, but American Hustle Life was a reality show put together by Mnet
Oh,
that
fun
brought
joke.
BTS to Los Angeles, where they had the unique opportunity to learn the true ways of hip-hop from the masters. And
Yeah.
it was a pretty darn cringy opportunity, but an opportunity nonetheless.
Look at his
Whatever you
face.
just
He was
don't watch
so
the Warren G
excited.
version of Boy in Love, you've been warned. However, cringe and all, the trip proved fruitful for BTS, making connections, performing their first US concert for free in front of 200 fans, as well as their first appearance at KCON. The next month, in August,
idea.
BTS released their first full-length studio album,
200 people
Dark
is still
and Wild. The
quite a
album
lot.
featured 2 singles, Danger
Danger.
and War of Hormones. The album featured a marked shift in sound with a touch of R&B and electronica. It was met with moderate success. It peaked at number 2 in Korea, selling over 200,000 albums. In October and again in May of the following year, BTS went on their first and
So they
second
did much
concert tours,
better.
known as the Red Bullet Tour, where they visited 13 different countries, including Japan, the Philippines, Australia, the US, Mexico, and many others. They also came out
Yay!
with their first Japanese album in December, Wake Up, featuring many Japanese versions of their songs, as well as original tracks Wake Up
Okay,
and The
and a
Stars,
Japanese
followed by a
album.
Japan tour and a solo concert in Korea.
Hey.
Although Dark and Wild got decent attention, they needed something different. They needed something that would shake things up. They got to work. April
they
29, 2015
shake
was their
things
comeback.
up.
When this album was produced, each member had a hand in writing songs for the album. They again changed their sound, from aggressive hip-hop to youthful, colorful styles. And not only their sound, but their image as well. This can be evidenced by their newest EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. And just by looking at the
Okay.
album cover, they ditched the dark colors and the bulletproof vest symbol that had become so synonymous with BTS, and replaced it with a simple white and pink background overlaid with the title. And then, they dropped the single that would change everything. I Need You.
I need you. So this single was their breakthrough, the
It
real
was
breakthrough
sentimental.
for BTS.
It was hopeful. It was new. Just by looking at the music video, we can see that BTS has also
New and
ditched their
sentimental.
punk bad boy image and replaced it with a more real, vulnerable, down-to-earth, and youthful feel. This proved to be the change that BTS needed for mainstream success. Billboard called it one of the greatest K-pop songs of the decade. It charted at number
One of the
5 in
best songs
Korea,
of
and
the
even led
decade?
them to their first music show
That's
win
huge
on
success
SBS
already.
and TV's The Show. And that wasn't all. They released their second single, Dope.
Before we continue with the second single, I would like to just comment how amazed I am by BTS willingness to change, willingness to experiment, to evolve throughout the years, and they were not afraid of shifting their styles a little bit from aggressive hip hop to more K-pop vibe, and then they brought some more modern sounds, and they simply tried out different concepts, and all of them participated in composing and writing songs. This is really, I think, unique for BTS, that they all are involved in creating an album. It's not just one or two of the members, but all of them work very well in a team. They have a very good synergy between them, as we have seen in the other introduction videos. This is really incredible.
On June 24th, which started off with a poignant line from RM.
어서 와. 방탄은
Oh,
처음이지?
he's so cute.
Welcome. Is this your first time with BTS? And you know what?
Oh, I love his
For a lot
dimple
of
ear.
people, it was. In a way, their first studio
First
album
time
and
with
tour can be
BTS.
seen as their stepping stone between old school BTS and new school. In November, they came back with their follow-up EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part 2, the second EP in what would be dubbed the Youth Trilogy, which featured the single Run.
Run. I'm just getting goosebumps.
The album
of this
focused even more
melody.
on the frivolity, friendship, and carefree attitude that comes with enjoying one's youth. But just
Carefree
like in I Need
attitude.
You, contrasted
That's
that with
it.
suffering, depression, loneliness, society, and the stark and sometimes dark
touch all
reality
these
of
deep
life.
topics
Compare this with the far cry of the No
that
More Dreams
youth
music video. It felt real.
can
It was
relate
darker,
to.
grittier, more humble, more meaningful, and most importantly, RM lost his mohawk. Run also connected narratively with their previous single, I Need You, and another video released in September titled Onstage Prologue established what would come to be known as the BTS universe, or the B.
Okay, so all of their things, they kind of link
Which would
together.
eventually combine music videos, short films, books, short stories, webtoons, and even a mobile game to create a cohesive
Mobile
story.
game?
And I won't go down this rabbit hole because there is a lot to
BTS
digest,
universe
but it's
story.
definitely
I
something
need
to
to
look
learn
into
more about
if you're a
this.
hardcore army. The same month, they kicked
I'm a
off
baby
their third
army.
tour,
Baby
The
army
Most Beautiful
still.
Moment in Life on-stage
Lots
tour,
to
where
learn.
they performed songs from their two recent EPs, Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 2 was a hit, their biggest so far. It topped the weekly Gaon album and Billboard World Albums charts, and on Billboard, it stayed there for multiple weeks, the first K-pop act to do so. It also appeared on the Billboard
Well done.
200 albums chart, not world albums, which was reserved for foreign non-English songs, but simply the top 200 albums, peaking at 171. Which is
Not bad
kind
at
of amazing
all.
considering that this was back in 2015. They also received Best World Performer at the
2015.
17th Mnet Asian Music Awards. This brings us to Part 3 of the Youth Trilogy, The
Okay,
Most
so check
Beautiful
this
Moment in Life,
as well, Mama
Young
from Hong
Forever,
Kong.
released on May 2nd, 2016, which featured probably my favorite BTS album cover. Young Forever was actually a compilation
Forever?
album of parts 1 and 2, so it was mostly the same songs, but it was notable that it had some new singles, Epilogue, Young Forever, Fire, and Save Me. The latter two performed exceptionally well, with both songs topping the Billboard World Digital Songs chart. This was also the second BTS album to chart on the Billboard 200 at 107, and it topped both the Gaon Weekly and Monthly chart, which
Wow.
earned BTS their first Daesang.
방탄소년단 축하드립니다.
What is that? Another
Album
type of
of the
award?
Year
Oh,
at
album
the
of
8th
the
Melon
year.
Music Awards. They went
Okay.
on to do the second half of their tour, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage Epilogue, selling out many of their concerts and even selling out KCON in the US where they headlined the event. In September, they dropped their second Japanese album, Youth, featuring Japanese versions of tracks from their previous 3 EPs,
Ooh, I'm gonna love it.
which went gold and peaked at #1 on Japanese charts. And only a month later,
Oh,
in
look at
October
their
of 2016,
shirts.
it happened. BTS dropped their second studio album, Wings. It
Wings.
sold over 500,000 copies in its first week. In
Whoa.
comparison, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part
That's
1,
a
released
record.
just the previous year, which topped the Gaon chart, sold about 500,000 in its entire lifetime. Wings was big, but the true showstopper was its lead single, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Yeah, I've seen this one. But love to
which got them their first all-kill, topping 8 music
Watch
charts in
it
South Korea.
again and
Its
again
music
and
video
again.
gained 6 million
I
views
think
in
it's
the first
very
24
addictive,
hours,
this
which broke the
clip.
YouTube record for the highest number of views of a K-pop group music video within 24 hours. The album hit number 26 on the Billboard 200, the highest ever charting K-pop album on Billboard. They ended up selling 1.5 million copies in South Korea in
I'm
2016
so proud of
alone,
them.
and it netted them the Artist of the Year award at the Mnet Asian Music Awards that same year, the first
Well done,
non-Big
guys.
3 artist ever to receive
Your
it.
hard work paid off.
방탄소년단.
Hard work always pays off, especially when combined with talent, ambition, and
After
creativity.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears, they were on a roll. BTS was unstoppable. In
They
February
are
2017, they
unstoppable.
released the instant hit Spring Day, which, quoting a Korean reviewer, embodied nostalgia and sorrow and opened a new chapter in BTS's aesthetics and lyricism and attracted fans across
is it?
generations.
Let me quickly read this. Embodied nostalgia and sorrow and opened a new chapter in BTS aesthetics, lyricism, and attracted fans across generational boundaries. 2019, alright.
Boundaries, which, by the way, is still on Korean charts after nearly 4 years, and the same day I'm writing this, it ranked number 53 on Melon. It won Song of the Year at the 9th Melon Music
That
Awards.
means that people
After the release
appreciate
of
the
Spring Day,
album.
they went on
Doesn't
yet
matter
another
if
tour,
it's getting
the
old.
2017 BTS Live
Like they
Trilogy,
say,
Episode
old but
3, The
gold.
Wings Tour. The tickets sold out within minutes, including in the United States, the first K-pop artist to do so, and went on to win Best Social Artist at the Billboard Music
Best Social
Awards.
Artist.
The first for a Korean artist, but they would go on to win this award 4 years
Applause
in a
for
row.
them.
The next year was a period of massive growth for both the group's popularity as well as their style. They released the Love Yourself series, starting with Love Yourself Her in September of 2017, Love Yourself Tear in May of 2018, and Love Yourself Answer in August of 2018.
Yourself.
3 albums that gave us some of the most classic BTS songs that we know and love today,
Okay, I need
such
to
as
get
Mic
these.
Drop,
Oh, that
Fake
beat.
Love,
Wow.
Euphoria,
Euphoria. I bet they were euphoric throughout that time and today.
and of course,
Yeah, we can see how really they changed their style so much.
all 3 albums were commercial
From
successes,
their start
Her being their first album
till
to
today.
top 2 million album sales. But Tear
2 million.
and Answer also did equally well. These 3
Album
albums, as well
sales.
as their Japanese album, Face Yourself, proved that they weren't done yet, not even close. During this time, they shattered countless records. Their singles went platinum, they topped charts, they won awards. And not only did they break YouTube's
Remarkable.
records, but they broke
Remarkable
records that
records.
they themselves set again and again and again. This is the period where BTS really started enjoying global recognition, working with huge Western artists such as Nicki Minaj, Designer, and Steve Aoki. It wasn't their first time having international features on their
Nice
songs, but it was
collabs.
definitely the biggest. And even though they were already, without a doubt, the biggest act to ever come out of South Korea, they had their eyes set even higher. They went on tour once again for the Love Yourself World Tour.
I love when he said that they had their eyes set even higher. I think that very few artists can say that. Whenever you achieve a record, whenever you achieve a high point in your career, I think many people just, I don't know, somehow become more relaxed and don't aim for something bigger. And I feel like BTS really explore and they try to get to higher stage in their career. Once they get one goal achieved, they are looking at the next one and the next one. What would be their next move? I feel this is like characteristics of very successful groups, artists, and people in general who really love exploring and always looking for the new, for the unknown, and they're not afraid of trying it out.
Tour. During this tour, they collaborated with Steve Aoki to make the song Wasted on Me.
Wasted on me? I need
Notable
to
for
hear
being their
this.
first all-English feature, and it also served as a jumping-off point for BTS to gain a following of English speakers Not that they really needed the help, as they sold out concerts even in the US leg of the tour, including at Citi Field in Queens, New York, where tickets sold out in 20 minutes.
20
And
minutes?
as if that wasn't enough, they dropped the movie in November, Burned the Stage, which in the US alone grossed
I bet today they
$3.54
sell their
million in the
tickets
first
in
weekend, breaking the
seconds.
record set by One Direction's movie This Is Us. In September, RM had the unique opportunity to speak at the United Nations, where he spoke of anti-violence and self-love. 2 years later, he would be offered to speak on a second occasion about persistence and hope in the face of challenges. And to top it all off,
Yeah,
in
RM's
October,
speeches
the
are
president of
so
South Korea
deep
awarded every
and
member of
inspiring.
BTS the 5th class Hwangwon Order of Cultural Merit for outstanding meritorious services in the field of culture and art, which is one of the highest South Korean orders of merit one can receive. And that's no exaggeration. 2019 estimates put
they were
BTS's
really honored,
contribution to
and
the
they
South Korean
deserve it.
economy to the tune of $4.65 billion each year, an equivalent to 0.3% of the country's GDP. They were
Wow,
the youngest to
that
ever
is
receive the honor.
huge.
2019, BTS invited to the Grammys, Time Magazine, Billboard. BTS entered a new era. Not an era of simply global recognition, but global
I
dominance.
hope they're gonna win this
April
Grammy.
12th, 2019, enter
Of
Map of the
2020
Soul
as well.
Persona. First things first, you can't mention Map of the Soul Persona without mentioning Boy With Love. It was simple math. What do you get when you cross the singer of one of the best charting songs of all time that went platinum 59 times in 13 different countries with, without a question, the most globally dominant pop group of all time? Well, you get this. Nothing less than an instant hit. Number 8 on Billboard
Dude,
Hot 100. Platinum
love
in the
this
US.
sound.
21 music show wins. Number 1 on iTunes in 67 different countries. The most liked and the most viewed YouTube video in the first 24 hours. The fastest video to reach 100 million views. A current view count of over 1 billion views.
Boy With Love.
7 boys, 1 girl, and
Hulk
7
thing.
different hair colors. They were the talk of the town, invited to talk show after talk show after talk show. The second single on the album was Make It Right. Written by Ed Sheeran himself, including a
beautiful.
version
Written by Ed
featuring Cloud.
Sheeran?
The album debuted at number
my
1
God,
on
I
Gaon
love him
and
as
sold
well.
3.2 million
This is
copies
so
its first
amazing that
month,
they
and that's
collabed
only in
in that.
Korea. It became the best-selling album in South Korea ever. It swept every major Korean music show, winning Album of the Year in each one of them. They followed up this legendary EP with the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself World Tour, where
Love
they sold
Yourself,
out both the
Speak
Rose Bowl
Yourself.
and the Wembley Stadium in only an hour. The only non-English
listen
speaking
to
act
them,
to
follow
do
their
so. They even
advice.
performed as a solo act in Saudi Arabia, the first foreign act to do that. The
Wow.
last stop of their tour was at South Korea's largest venue, the Seoul Olympic Stadium. They ended up grossing
The
$200
Olympic
million.
Stadium.
During this time, they also created a visual novel style
is
game for
amazing.
mobile devices called BTS World, where the player can interact with the members.
BTS
This
World?
also came with an original soundtrack with tracks unique to the game featuring Western artists. Zara Larsson, Charlie XCX, and Juice WRLD for the tracks A Brand New Day, Dream Glow, and All Night, respectively. In
Interesting.
December of 2019, the group swept the grand prizes for both the Melon and Mnet Music Award shows, the first artist to do that. Map of the Soul Persona was legendary.
been first in
truly
doing a
marvel
lot of
in modern
things.
Music. So, how could BTS follow up the best-selling album in South Korean history, you may ask? Easy. Make an even better-selling album. And that's what they did with Map of the Soul 7.
Map
The
of
album
the
was
Soul
released on
7.
February 21st of 2020. featuring the
Everybody's
singles
telling me
Black
about
Swan,
it. So they continued improving with every single album.
and sold over 4.1 million albums in just the first week, and the first Korean album to be certified as quadruple million on the Gaon Music Chart.
Whoa.
It debuted at number 1 on music charts all over the world, including the US, Korea,
Number
the UK,
1 in all of the
Japan, and much of
charts.
Europe. It's not an exaggeration to say that this album left a permanent mark on the world, launching BTS into legendary status and becoming the best-selling
are
artist
legends.
in South Korean history. BTS had
know
scheduled a
that.
Map of the Soul tour for April of that year, which would have undoubtedly outsold their record-breaking tour only a year prior. But unfortunately, the COVID
keep on
pandemic caused the entire tour to be postponed,
Outselling
including the show at the
themselves.
Rose Bowl, which I was supposed to attend. But that didn't stop BTS, who performed virtual concerts, spoke at the Dear Class of 2020 graduation event, and released
That's
the
really,
Japanese version of
really
the recent
amazing.
album with an original Japanese single, Stay Gold.
Stay gold!
And to top it all off,
Okay,
this was
sorry.
only
I
June.
shouldn't try.
At this point, it was clear that BTS had already dominated their home turf, and they had topped the music charts all over the world. This time, their sight was set for the very top.
You're everywhere,
Remember that
BTS?
scene in The Social Network where Mark and Sean talk about how they don't want $1 million, they want $1 billion. How they're not interested in catching 14 trout, but they'd rather catch an 800-pound marlin? Well, that's what they set their sights on. The marlin, the biggest music industry in the world, the United States. And at the top of that music industry, #1 on Billboard Hot 100. This
I'm
small
getting
group from a
chills
company that virtually no
from
one had
all
heard
of their
about 8 years ago
successes.
planned to take on Goliath himself and dominate the American industry on their home turf. And all they had to do was speak English. August 21st. Enter
August
Dynamite.
21st. Dynamite.
Their first and only English single so far,
First and
simultaneously
only
performed
English
better
single.
than anyone had expected.
I wonder if
but
they're
at the
gonna
same
have
time
some
is
other
exactly
English
what we as an
singles. I bet
audience
they
had come
would.
to expect from the legendary boy band themselves. And they did it. They reached #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, the Global 200, and the
In
Global
all
excluding
Billboard
US chart. And they made
charts.
sure that if you hadn't heard of them before, you definitely have now. And if that wasn't already the biggest flex, on October 2nd they came out with
That was a
Savage Love
flex.
BTS
Yeah.
remix with Jason Derulo, getting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 again, less than 2 months after already getting
I'm
#1
glad
on
they
Dynamite.
did
And on the Global
a collab
200,
with
where
Jason
they
Derulo.
actually replaced themselves at #1, the first artist to do so ever. So what makes BTS so special? How did they achieve all this?
Yes,
K-pop is a
how?
genre that spans for at least 30 years, and there have been hundreds of boy groups
Many
and
people would
hundreds
like
of
to know
girl groups.
how.
What did BTS do to rise above all of them and break through to markets never before seen? Historically, the boy band industry has been dominated by white English-speaking bands. And the fact that BTS has not only held their own, but blew any sign of competition out of the water on a global scale can be attributed to nothing less than their talent, hard work, and a bit of a 1 in a million miracle. They did it through their own blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak.
Talent, hard work, and 1 in a million miracle. Well, definitely. Even if you're talented, even if you work hard, not always you're gonna have the luck and the chance to be in the right place at the right time, to be in the right age, maybe. A lot of factors, you know, but BTS are really, they're talented, they're hard workers, and they are really lucky as well. Luck plays a role in success, no doubt, no doubt. I'm
Around
happy
the
for
world,
them,
we see
really,
that boy
really
bands have
happy.
pretty much fallen into obscurity, but BTS is thriving. And though I've stated this all before, it's worth
They
saying
are
again,
thriving.
in contrast to other bands who would sing about romantic relationships with girls and what some would call predictable bubblegum pop tunes,
Predictable.
BTS is continuously pushing the envelope and changing their styles.
Yeah.
According to an article
They
by
keep on pushing
Vulture.com, they describe the
themselves
style as much less a
and
successor of the
discovering new
Backstreet Boys and
horizons.
more of the successors of Michael Jackson, whose choreography and charisma were unprecedented. While of course there's a lot of love for the angelic
Unprecedented,
vocals of BTS,
Unprecedented
rap has
success.
also played a very important part in creating their own style. In stark contrast to the typical boy band where every member sings, it's so
Yeah.
refreshing when you're in the middle
They
of a
do
song
have their
and you hear
own
RM's
style.
raw rapping skills, J-Hope's energy, or Suga's soul put into every single line. Interestingly enough, at the first glance it seems that the success of BTS was miraculous, despite not being part of the Big Three, but it can also be argued that their success was because of their separation from the Big Three. Their label, Big Hit Entertainment, whose founder emphasizes
Maybe
artistic
that's the
freedom
reason.
more than anything else, allowed them to make their own sound. And going back to BTS universe, it's not often that a K-pop group does something special with each of their songs and albums, utilizing strong storytelling that can go beyond simply the song itself, but rather interconnected with other songs and even other albums to create one large overarching story. And not only do they all have their own expertise in performance, but also each of them have had the experience of writing and producing their own music, and they're not afraid to let their style evolve over time. BTS
Well, stop again. I hope I'm not annoying you with this, but I really feel like the freedom BTS had in creating their own music and that all the members were involved partially or fully in writing a song and composing it. I feel like this really helped them to discover who they really are and to be true to themselves. And I feel like very few artists had this opportunity. If you're part of a big label, I don't think you'll have so much freedom to create. I guess the music would be given to you and you just need to sing it, you need to play it, and not always you would be participating in creating your own story, your own music story. And I feel they really have been lucky that they chose to join Big Hit Entertainment and not any of the other companies, because this really has given them the chance to find their unique selves.
During their debut is such a far cry from Wings era BTS and current day BTS. They also chose to tackle more adult issues instead of simply love and girls. While they definitely didn't have a shortage of those, they also covered other very important issues such as mental health, regret, following your dreams, hard work, self-love, and many others. Add that to the fact that as fans, we can feel the authenticity of the members themselves.
Yeah,
they seem approachable. BTS seems like there's a place for every type of fan. And in this fast-paced world where things change at unthinkable speeds, BTS has stayed grounded and faithful to who they were and who they are. Those kids we saw on American Hustle Life, along with their dreams and passions, are the same men who stand before us today. And while some artists like to keep their personal lives private, BTS gives us a look at their personal lives through their vlogs, which allow us to become more connected to them than ever before. What is truly amazing is that, with the exception of just one single, they're doing this all while singing in their native tongue, Korean. Their music holds so much power that it literally breaks through the barriers
they sing
of language.
in Korean.
And no, they're not done yet. Today, November 20th, they're releasing their 5th studio album, B. Their singles on the album, Dynamite and Life Goes On. And chances are, life will go on for BTS. And chances are they'll continue to break even more records.
Goes on for
They've
BTS.
shown that they're capable of dominating music charts across the world and even reaching across the Pacific Ocean and conquering the music industry in the United States. What's next for them? Mars? In any case, they've only started in 2013,
that was a good
BTS
question.
is as strong as it's ever been. As far as we know, they will only continue to light it up like a dynamite.
This video was rather inspiring to see the whole story, how each of the members joined the group. Everybody has I think, a very different story from the others. Everybody has different talents, and somehow they really come well as one, because it's very important for a group to be able to match their diverse talents and create a project, create an idea, express it in a way that would touch people, would touch lives. And I feel like this is what BTS are doing. They're touching people's lives and they're impacting each one of us, each one of the members of the ARMY. And I feel, and I do believe, and for sure I know that ARMY is growing with every minute, every second. I believe there are more and more people becoming fans of BTS. We can only be looking forward to what's coming next, and I have lots of material to catch up with. Let me know your suggestions in the comments below. I'd like to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.